You've been drinking, and you've been pulled over. What should you do if you are stopped for a DWI?
Obviously, I don't advocate drinking and driving, but in New York State, if you're stopped for DWI, you should be aware you're going to be asked to submit to a breath or chemical test. And refusal to take that test, you will automatically be charged with a misdemeanor and potentially lose your license for up to 1 year.
Should you submit to a breathalyzer test?
If you've only had 1 or 2 drinks and you don't believe you're intoxicated, you should definitely take the test. There's a chance you may not be charged at all, or on the alternative, you may be charged with the violation instead of the misdemeanor, which you would be charged with in a refusal.
What's the difference between a misdemeanor and a violation?
A misdemeanor is a crime. A violation is the equivalent of a traffic ticket. A violation will most likely carry a fine, but the maximum time could be 1 to 15 days in jail. A misdemeanor will also carry a fine, but could be 15 days to a year in jail.
What happens if you refuse to take a breathalyzer test?
Your license will be revoked, and you'll get a hearing within 10 days of your arraignment in front of an administrative law judge through DMV. At that hearing, the administrative law judge will determine if the warnings by the police officer concerning the refusal were proper. That is the only issue at the hearing. If the warnings were proper, the judge will validate the refusal, and you potentially lose your license for a year.
Do you need an attorney if you are charged with a DWI?
You absolutely need an attorney if you're arrested for DWI in New York. You want somebody who can take you through the criminal justice system, as well as somebody who can help get your driver's license back through DMV.
What happens after you are arrested?
After you're processed with the police, you're going to be taken to criminal court in front of a criminal court judge for an arraignment. At arraignment, your attorney will plead you not guilty, and the criminal court judge will suspend your license and your driving privileges in New York State. Your attorney will be able to help mitigate that and potentially get you a hardship or conditional license on a case-by-case basis.
What steps will your attorney take after you are arrested for a DWI?
As your attorney, I have my clients get a drug and alcohol evaluation from a state-certified drug and alcohol counselor to either show A, that you don't have a problem, this was an isolated incident, in which case we can present to the district attorney's office, or B, in the alternative, if you do have a problem, that you're going to get help for that problem, and you are getting treatment and getting help, and therefore maybe you deserve a break, and that will also be presented to the district attorney's office.
How can you get your driving privileges back after your license is suspended?
The second part of the process will be through DMV, and you'll need to enroll in a drunk driver program through DMV to get your driver's license back. In that program, it's a 6-week course. It meets once a week. You'll watch videos. You hear about the dangers of drunk driving. While you're enrolled in that class, you're eligible for a conditional license, which will allow you to drive to and from work, to and from doctor's appointments, to and from court appearances. At the conclusion of that program, you'll get your full driving privileges back if you've completed the program. In addition to that, there'll also be a driver responsibility assessment, which is $750. You can pay it all at once, or you can pay it $250 a year for 3 years.
What's the best way to avoid a DWI?
It's always cheaper to plan ahead, to call a cab, a car service, or a friend. And I'd rather see you give a car service or a cab $50 or $100 than to have to pay me or another attorney to represent you in court.